Hey, again. Thank you so much for just tuning in on the Shake Up with Dr. Kit. Man, we've been doing this now for coming up on to about a year now, and we're surviving. We're well. Everything's going so good for us. The Shake Up, you're like I like to tell you, it's not about changing the structure of anything. It's just about reframing it, putting the picture in a new frame, and it just looks so much different. All right. So with that said, I just want to welcome all of our listeners, all of our viewers, everywhere and everywhere. So welcome again. As always, we have a good show for you tonight. And so just stay tuned in and, holler through the kitchen window and tell somebody in your next door neighbor, say, hey, that show is on. So, don't burn your food now, but, hey, let's try to get a few folks in here. Okay. And listen, some of the things we'd like for you to do, we would like for you to do what? Just to keep this show healthy. We want you to like it, follow, share, and subscribe. Like it, follow, share, and subscribe. You are the people that make this show work well. You are the governance of this. You are the food for this. You are the manure for this. You are the ones that keep it moving and getting people on board, okay? And you're here with us every week. So like, follow, share, and subscribe. All right, so do that for us. Hey, listen, a lot of you out there, from week to week, what we're doing, we're getting some really good comments. And I think some of y'all need to be on the show, like some really good comments, okay? So, and I can't bait anybody into jumping on the show, because I don't know why, but I just love y'all's input into the show, So to be considered, just email my team at drkitspeaks@gmail.com. That's drkitspeaks@gmail.com. All right. And we'll be sure to get in touch with you and get you all suited up for the show. We'd love to have you on camera. But if you decide, hey, listen, camera is not for me, that's okay. You can be in the background. But we do want you to share your information. Okay. We do want you to share your info. So do that for us, just help us, because if you don't share your experience, it won't be shared, because this is not book stuff we're talking about. We're just talking about people doing them stuff. Okay. All right. So now we're going to get right to it. Okay. So we got some people just starting to come on board here now, and we're enjoying that. Thank you. And welcome. Don't forget to holler at your neighbors and, tell them to come on in. So tonight we got a really good show for you. There's an amazing young man. We were talking a little bit earlier on, and I don't want to tell you where he's from, but yeah, he's from a nice place, a really nice place, and he's got something that's really near and dear to his heart, and he wants to talk about it. So we're going to be having a, kind of a free-flowing thing going on tonight, and we just want you to be a part of that. And don't forget to put your comments in the chat, and just keep it moving. Okay. All right. So now here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right. We're going to bring my guest on. Hey. Oh, man. Oh, sir. How are you, man? How you doing, man?
Peace and blessings, Dr. Kit. It's such an honor to be with you today. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Listen, man, the honor is mine. The opportunity is mine to meet, to just to be able to get in touch with the many great minds that are just out there, just doing, and not just idling, because when you're idling, when my car's in idle, man, I'm burning gas, but I ain't going nowhere, and you don't look like you're an idler, you look like you're a man who like to move and shake a few things, and so, you're talking about, it's an honor for you, man. It's an honor for me, man. And I just love to have you on here. So welcome. So what I would like you to do this evening, is we're going to keep it really nice and light, nothing heavy. Whatever happens, but it's a stress-free program, stress-free show, man. So we're just going to have a good time. So, and I tell people, nothing is wrong. Your experience cannot be wrong. It's yours. It's not subject to the rubrics of science. Science can't tell you that you're not feeling what you're feeling. So we're going to just gonna hang out this evening for a little bit. So why don't you just go ahead and give us your name, introduce yourself, and then tell us anything about you that you want us to know. And then if there's a topic here that you want to zero in on, we're gonna put the arrowhead right to it. Okay. All right, man.
So my name is Mark Tuggle. I live in the village of Harlem, in New York City. Takes a village to raise a child. I'm 63, and I am first-time independent self-published author. I'm an educator. I'm a mentor. Been a mentor to a young Black male for over 21 years. I'm the co-host of a talk radio show that centers Black male self-care. And the book, my book, is Cultural Silence of Wounded Souls. Black Men Speak About Mental Health. The book is an intergenerational anthology of 30 men who share their personal experiences and professional views on a taboo subject in our community. Mental health is a taboo subject, particularly amongst Black men. There's also resources in the book, Dr. Kit, that I think are very beneficial. And the purpose of the resources are to answer three important questions. What can I do? Where can I go? And who can I talk to?
Hey, man, I love that. And you know what? Since you broke it down like that, somewhere in the show, we're gonna let you loose on that. To answer those questions, because they're very, very, very important. But before we dive into that, can you kind of just, you're an author, educator, all that kind of stuff. You're from the village of Harlem. I'm not so sure a lot of people know that Harlem is called a village. I think it's a city or a subset of the NYC. But nevertheless, man, listen. Can you just fill us in on something about your background, because you're talking about mentoring, and all this kind of stuff, and what led you into doing that, what led you into becoming an author, what led you to become an educator, just so some of our people listening, can have you as a focal point moving forward to say, hey, listen, I got me a man out there that I can talk with.
Well, yeah, thank you. I am a person with lived experience. I was clinically diagnosed with generalized anxiety and mild depression over 29 years ago. At that time, I thought therapy was for rich, crazy white people. And I had a friend who was in therapy. She suggested that I see a therapist because 3 months prior, I had been diagnosed HIV positive. And during the AIDS pandemic, doctors would tell patients, you have 6 months to live. So I had a great deal of fear, anxiety, worry, shame, emptiness, loneliness. I had a lot of conflicting feelings that I didn't at that time have a name for. I was emotionally homeless. I didn't know how to express myself emotionally. But thank God I had a friend who suggested that I go into therapy, and therapy really helped me to heal my heart. It helped me to deal with a lot of the trauma that I experienced as a child, things that I never talked about, things that were secrets, particularly with family, because family and secrets can be a dangerous combination, because if you tell a secret, it can break your family. But if you keep a secret, it can break your spirit. And yeah, that was my experience.
What you mean by that? Can you kind of expound on that just a little bit, man?
Well, my spirit, my spirit is that deepest part of me. The spirit never lies, the spirit never dies. That's God's grace. Okay. And my spirit was broken. I just had so much hurt and pain. Yeah. And trauma. And I just didn't know how to navigate through life with any type of confidence or esteem or value or worth. I never felt safe, never felt appreciated, always felt alone, misunderstood, uncomfortable. So I had a lot of struggle, and being diagnosed with mental illness, which is not the same thing. There's a lot of stigma, particularly in the Black community, particularly amongst Black men, around our manhood, around our masculinity. All the messages that we get growing up that don't serve us to be free and to be loving and caring. So there was a lot of work I had to do with myself, and I wanted to write about my own mental health journey. That was primary why I wanted to start writing. And I never thought I was going to write a book. I thought maybe it was going to be an essay, maybe a poem, maybe a haiku. Called a buddy of mine, and he suggested that we ask other Black men to share their experiences. And so I decided to come up with an anthology, And they're men from all walks of life: advocates, educators, um, filmmakers, rappers, musicians. And they share honestly, very transparent, very vulnerable. Some of the men have written about multiple attempts to die by suicide. And
Mm,
die by suicide, not commit suicide. Because when we say someone committed suicide, we imply or suggest that person is a criminal, that they are irresponsible, that they're unethical, they're selfish. It's a moral judgment to say
mhm.
someone committed. Just recently, the actress, Oscar-winning actress Regina King, she was on TV talking about her son, Ian, who took his own life. He struggled with mental illness, and she talked about how he went through therapy and medication and psych treatments, all kinds of stuff, but he wanted to end his life. He told his mother, "I don't want to be here anymore."
Mm.
So suicide is real. Today in the United States, the highest rate of suicide are Black boys aged 5 to 12.
5, 5 to 12. So hold on. I'm going to let you go on with that in a minute, but I'm just trying to think what's going on in the life of a 5-year-old that is hardly, you know, they have not even what some psychology call the phallic stage. You know, you know, they're still very dependent on their caregivers and the community. And I'm just trying to figure out, what happened to the parents or the caregivers that would bring the children to a place where they feel a sense of nothingness and unworthiness at 5. 12, I can understand because they got a little bit more history behind them, a little bit more social learning, all of that kind of stuff. But at 5, can you talk about that for me, please?
Well, the human condition, can be fallible. And yeah, 5 is young, but this is a statistic, it's not my opinion. And not every 5-year-old child is raised by their parents.
All right.
Not everyone is raised by caregivers. Some people
Okay.
are adopted, and they go from one home to another where they don't value your Black male humanity. And so little boys have to deal with anti-Black misandry. When little Black boys have mental health challenges, sometimes they get diagnosed with something called oppositional defiant disorder.
Yes, ODD, yeah.
Right. But white boys with the same presenting symptoms are diagnosed with ADHD. So little Black boys have a really difficult time in a world which does not value their humanity. Little Black boys are not respected, they're not valued, they're not heard, they're not seen. They're blamed, shamed. I was at a mental health conference a couple months ago, and one of the panelists said there was a woman who came home and found her 6-year-old son hung. He hung himself, 6 years old.
Mm.
Suicide, there are so many layers. In my book, there are several men who write about multiple attempts to die by suicide. Thank God they're allowed to tell their own story. It's not always something that we can wrap our hands around because you never know what somebody's going through.
Right.
You never know what a child perceives.
Mm.
Right? I can't see through their eyes. And some children feel worthless. And they don't know how to tell someone that they feel worthless. And so they find a way to end their life.
It's kind of thank you. Hold on. 6'5", child abuse by close relatives and friends is a real thing. Thank you for that, 6'5". What do you think this person is really saying, but may not be saying, giving a lot of details, but what do you think this listener is saying right now?
Well, I think, one of the messages we get, children should be seen and not heard.
Okay.
Right? So and particularly with boys, right? Because boys are conditioned and programmed and socialized different than girls. And just to give you an example, when I was a kid, my family, we went to see The Wiz when Stephanie Mills was playing Dorothy. And it was a family outing. I got 6 brothers and sisters. My parents were there. And when Stephanie Mills started to sing Home, I started crying. I started crying because I'm sensitive, and she touched my spirit really deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my brothers and sisters were laughing.
Mm.
And I know now it wasn't malicious. Sometimes it's just, with siblings, you get nervous laughter, they're uncomfortable, they think you're being silly. But I grew up with the fear of being publicly humiliated, just from that one trauma. I learned that through therapy. I held on to that for a long time. I never felt safe being vulnerable because I was afraid you were going to laugh at me and you're going to judge me, call me out of my name. Um, I'm not the only Black male who has those thoughts and feelings. And where do you go if you feel like you have no one to talk to? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, there's sexual abuse going on, physical abuse, verbal abuse, neglect, all kinds of trauma that we don't talk about because they're all taboo, and when you're a little boy, they tell you to man up, suck it up. You have women telling little boys at 8 years old, you got to be the man in the house. When you tell a little Black boy, you got to be the man in the house, he's 8 years old, how do you think he's going to react to that? He wants to please his mother, his grandmother. And if all he sees around him is crime, drugs, poverty, violence, he may emulate that. If you look at the newspaper, you see Black boys and men on the front and on the back, crime and sports.
Mm-hmm.
You see those images every day, you begin to believe that's all you have waiting for you in this society.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of learning that we have to do, a lot of unlearning, a lot of relearning. We are all deeply wounded. PTSD also stands for post-traumatic slavery disorder. That's what Dr. Joy DeGruy-Leary talks about in her books, in her work. So in my opinion, all Black people have PTSD in one form or another.
Well, when you say post-traumatic slave disorder, you're saying that because of that, all Black people have some form of PTSD, whether it's post-traumatic stress or slave disorder.
Yes.
We all have something in common, but it's an intra-racial thing within the race, but it's kind of a funny. I was thinking, and we're gonna get back to that, but I just want to drop this in there before I forget about it. I'm just thinking here, that at a kind of a meta level, a higher level, slave masters, anybody who is dependent on somebody to allow them to get to where they want to get to, or they are actually a slave to the person who's going to get them there. Because without that person, they can't get where they want to get to. But we believe that the slave is the one who's doing all the work. No. The master is also the slave because of the dependency that they have on this other person. Listen, man, listen, how do I know that? Back in years ago, and even now, when a group of workers, employees that work for money, they can bring a corporation to its knees by striking. Yeah, I don't do that. Alabama, back in the days when the great bus boycott, we can bring people to our knees. So it's in my crazy mind, I'm saying, listen, the slave master is also slave to the slave who they master, but they don't want us to know that. That's what we call dependency. Dependency is a matter of slavery.
I agree with you. And James Baldwin talked about that. Why did the European come up with the N-word? Why do they use that word to describe us? Because if that's the way you see us, then how do you see yourself?
Right. And yeah, and if of course they wanted to make a total distinction between us and them, but like I said, they didn't want us to know. But now we know. We know because of the modern technological world. Listen, I'm talking to you on my computer. Okay, I am a slave to my computer. Here's this thing that I have this dependency on, and anything or anybody that you have that relationship with, it's going to be like that. But I wanted to get back to this. This 6-year-old who hung himself. Okay, so the mother finds him. Is that what I'm hearing? She
Yes.
came home and found him. I'm just wondering what went on in the deep psyche, deep caverns of the mother's mindset when she saw her son. And I'm going to put it this way: her son, who was and still is just in memory, was a part of her that was living outside of herself. She came home and found the other part of her living outside of herself dead. So that part of her inside that was attached to him is now dead because he's no longer available to ignite that part of her. I'm just wondering what happens to people like that, when they have that experience.
Yeah, I mean, the trauma that she is experiencing is something that it's really difficult to grasp because that was her child, and black boys in this country live with anti-black misandry, and it's not discussed, it's not researched. Medical education doesn't treat black boys in that perspective. They focus on poverty and not racism. Is that way, you look at a black boy and a white boy with depression, you'll think they both have the same issues because they're both poor. But they don't look at the anti-black misandry and the anti-black racism that the little black boy has to deal with as soon as he comes out of the womb, because of all of the systemic institutional racism that we have to deal with every single day. I think Iana Manzan said that we all live with the ancestral memory in our DNA. Rimza Menachem talks about the white body supremacy. There's something unique, Dr. Kidd, about black male pain. And the pain that we have is a pain that the English language, in my opinion, really can't describe sufficiently. And so we come up with our own language. Like now, you ask somebody how they feel, they say, well, I feel some type of way. That's not an emotion. It's a mask. And Paul Laurence talks about we wear the mask that grins and hides, that hides our face and shades our eyes. We still wear a mask as a people because some people say I'm African American, some people say I'm black, some people say I'm African. We have so much to unlearn because we're really not wanted on these shores. And you kind of learn that when you go to school and you look at the pictures on the wall, and, nothing but dead presidents. I went to a private school when I was 3 years old. There was nobody on the wall that looked like my grandfather. And I had to salute the flag, found out the flag was not for black people. They told me when I was 4 years old, if you want to keep something from a black person, put it in a book.
Okay.
4 years old.
I can see that. I can see that.
I remember that. This is 4 years. I was 4 years ago. So it's a lot to deal with. And most of us don't have the emotional vocabulary to express how we honestly feel on the inside. And so we compensate with work and school and sex and food and all kinds of stuff. But there's still that hole in our soul that we just have not really come to terms with. And, suicide it's an issue. Suicide is the third leading cause of death amongst black males aged 25 to 34. It's really sad. It's really sad,
It is.
And as someone who lives with mental illness, I have had my own issues with suicide ideation. Just I've had moments where I don't want to be in my body. It's like a residual effect of having a mental illness. And it comes and it goes. It doesn't last very long, but I've had those moments. I've had those, those moments, those miserable moments and dark days. Depression depression hurts. Depression hurts, and quite often, I've never really felt safe up until recently to talk about how I feel, because it's not just a depression, but that can be the catalyst for discussion. But thank God there are people like yourself who have these verbal spaces, virtual spaces where we can speak freely and speak our truth, without being worried about CNN or Nike or Verizon. It's important that you can speak your truth. That you feel safe to tell the truth about how you feel, what you believe,
Mm,
what you're thinking,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
you need people who have compassion and empathy and kindness in your corner.
Mm. Man, that's a lot. That's some really big stuff that you're talking about there, and I appreciate that. For those of you who are just coming on, I got this wonderful guest on with me on here, and his name is Mark Tuggle. He's an educator, a mentor. He's from Harlem, the NYC. He's talking about a whole lot of really good stuff that the whole world just need to understand. Listen, and thank you all. Holler at somebody, tell them to just jump on. Okay, listen, Mark. One of the things that you said was that there is a difference between black poverty and white poverty, and people will go across the scale and say, the poverty line starts here. If you make so much, you are below the poverty level. Well, in my mind, when it comes to poverty, poverty is a condition of the mind, for one. That's the way I see it. Okay? It is a condition of the mind. Now, but out there in the classical world, we say that, listen, poverty is how much you have or how much you don't have. Well, experience cannot be measured by quantity. It is not quantifiable. It is a qualitative thing. That's what an experience is. But the only thing that a black, you were talking about a couple of black boys, having $5 here, five. The only thing that is equal among them to some degree is that they both have $5. How they feel about themselves having $5 and where they can go to spend their money and what they can get and how they be treated because they have $5 and holes in their shoes and their pants are tore up and they got dirt all over their clothes. That is the kind of emotional poverty I believe that we go through. And no one else can understand that except for the person who's wearing those things. So now we come down to the mask, right? Why do we wear a mask? Because what do I need to do? The purpose of a mask is to protect yourself. COVID taught us that. Mask was in vogue there for a couple of years, man. It was a big deal. And what was the whole reason? To protect the self. So the human mask was to protect the self. So how did you wear your mask? When you were going through your depression and other types of mental illness. How did you wear your mask?
How did I wear my mask?
Yes.
Help me to understand your question.
Well, how did you wear your mask? Okay, would be like a matter of how did you behave so that people would not see you because they would see your behavior and then they would look at you, but they'd never be able to get in touch with you and your pain, the person, but they take a look at the behavior, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how of the person, but they can't get to see the who because the mask is protecting the who of the person.
Okay, I understand.
All right.
No, that's a wonderful question. One of the ways was through fashion. I like clothes.
Okay. All
I'm a
right.
Leo. I like bright colors. And so when I was 5 years old, my mother took me to school, and I had on a white shirt and a bow tie and some black shorts. I was dressed to kill. You know what I mean? I was fly. I was fly.
All
And,
right. Okay.
and there was a white woman who said, "Oh, your son is so handsome." At 5 years old, I thought if I dressed a certain way, people would like me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So clothing was a mask. Another mask was being dishonest about my emotional state.
Okay.
So you ask me how I feel, I'm all right. I'm chilling. I'm good. Another way would be to change the subject altogether because I'm uncomfortable. So you ask me a question, I'm not ready to get honest. So I'll start talking about the weather, the game, anything to distract you from you thinking that I don't have it all together. Because again, growing up as a man, I thought I had to always be in control. I got to be tough. I got to be strong. I can't be vulnerable. Never let them see you sweat. Real men don't cry. All of these messages that I got as a kid, I internalized. But I wasn't aware of that until I got into therapy. Therapy really helped me to take a look at the little boy. I'm not a father, but I'm a single parent to a little boy inside of me. And so now I get to take care of him. So those are just at the top of my head. That's a really good question. You gave me something to write about the mask. Another mask is my intellect, right?
Yeah.
I wanted people to think I know what you don't know. So I would come up with these off the wall statistics that nobody cares about, random stats, facts to distract you from asking me how I really feel about myself on the inside. And I thought I could impress people with my knowledge, because I love to read. I'm a voracious reader. But sometimes I would share stuff that really doesn't have any real meaning or value in life. It's just information.
Or just to shock somebody, say, "Hey, listen, look," yeah, and I go, "Wow, you know all about that kind of stuff."
Right. And when I would get that reaction, I think, "Okay, I got him now.
You got him. You got him.
Talk more about that."
Yeah. Listen, man. But we kind of talked around it, but I want us to talk directly to it right now about little girls play with dolls. They have pretty dresses. They have, all these kind of stuff, bows and everything. Little girls walk down the road holding hands with each other, and, arms around each other and all that kind of stuff. And little guys, if little guys are seen doing that, then there is a label that they're going to get. Why? Because we have been acculturated that. But, a lot of the things that our young Black boys and Black girls are experiencing, going through right now, you do know that we, as a culture, adult like you and me and people who can get ears of people, that it is our responsibility, okay, to reframe that stuff so that they don't think that it's that little boys who cry are a sissy. You know what I'm saying? So because they're not, they're just emoting, because if they don't cry, they will implode. Just stuff goes everywhere, or they explode, and the next thing you know is they hear a big metal door behind them, and you just can't go anywhere out of that thing. So what do we need to do as a culture to change the narrative? We cannot expect people of other races to take the ball and run. Yes, we welcome their input. We welcome their support. But you and I and others, it is it's our responsibility. You said that Harlem is a village. There's a whole village out here. There's a whole village out here living in high rise and $5 million homes and driving 3 cars at the same time. Yes, I said that. I don't know how they do it, but they do. You understand? But once they get into that cloistered kind of a community, they forget about the rest of us, like down here, and then our little boys and our little girls, when things are said, they get upset. The mask comes off, and then it's something else. So what's our responsibility? Where do we need to start?
I believe we need to start at home. I think parents, it would benefit parents to become more aware of how mental health impacts a child's confidence, their esteem, their value, their worth. And so they can learn how to feel safe, telling the truth about how they feel. So if somebody bothers them, disturbs them, upsets them, they can talk about it with their parents before they do what you said, explode, right? Because if you don't feel safe, what comes in has to come out. And you're right, there's so many people in prison because they did not they never know how to resolve conflicts. Mm-hmm. Every human being has conflicts about something or someone, right? So that's just a natural part of being human. But if you don't learn it at a young age, you may believe that the only way to resolve conflict is through violence or food or sex, gambling. There's a lot of destructive ways that, we can get into if we have never learned how to deal with how we feel. So that's one thing. Parents can really begin to do that. Our society can begin to have mental health as part of our curriculum in school. You know, I believe there should be mental health classes in school when you, as young as maybe fourth grade, and not just a guidance counselor that you see once a month, but actually a class where you go once a week and you learn about mental health, what it is not, how it impacts you, you know, because mental health is our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Mental health is our thoughts, our feelings, the choices we make, the way we handle stress, the way we deal with conflict. That's all of our mental health. Everyone has a relationship with mental health.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When I was a kid, we would use words like crazy, retarded, slow. So that stigma started at a very young age, and some people never shake that stigma because they never met anybody who modeled for them healthy mental health, loving mental health, kind mental health. So parents, society, I think people also, Dr. Kidd, can start their own support group. You don't always have to pay a professional to get the love and encouragement support that you need. Start your own support group. Call 5 or 10 buddies. Come over once a week for an hour. Bring some food and just chop it up. You know, how's your spirit today? What's in your heart? Is there anything troubling you? Are you upset about something or someone? Have that conversation on a regular basis and get used to expressing your natural God-given human feelings. Because emotions means emotion, energy, and motion. We all have the same feelings. But if you don't talk about how you feel, your feelings will talk about you.
What you mean by that? Talk about that.
The self-talk.
Okay.
You know, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough.
Okay.
Nobody likes me. No one cares about me. I'm too tall. I'm too skinny. I'm too fat. I'm too short. All the that stuff that we get as kids that we hear people teasing us. We call it bullying now. But it's really trauma, you know.
Yeah.
It's really trauma, and trauma is something that's taboo. Again, there's so much, Dr. Kidd, that we have to unlearn as a culture to have this conversation because we have so much noise that's not real, but we've been taught to believe it, you know, and we have to learn how to love ourselves too.
You know. Thank you for that. Listen. You said something kind of triggered something in my brain. I just want to say it out loud. You know, about kids and school and all this kind of stuff, and you know, on the streets and so forth. I was watching something on the news this evening, and this black kid, you know, they were saying that the FAFSA form to get into college, you know, it is very complicated, you know, but they went down through all that, and it's amazing you got to apply to get into that level of education, right? When the most pervasive level of education on the streets, in the home, in the workforce, no one has got to get a FAFSA form to get that. You know what I'm saying? You can just go, and those things just organically happen. And I'm just wondering, you know, how come in the workplace, like you're saying, following up with you know, we can't have this type of mental health outlets, you know, where people don't have to make an application, don't have to worry about scoring a particular number somewhere on, you know, we don't have to do that. Just go and say, hey, listen, this is this. Why are you here? I want to be pain free. Okay, come on in. That's all we want to hear. Want to be pain free? Come on in. Want to be pain free? Come on in. Oh, and by the way, it's not going to be anesthesia. It's not going to come out the bottle. It's not going to come out from between your fingers. Not going to be token, smoking, doping. You just want to be coming here, and we engage this thing like right here. You know, that's where I think we really need to go and take our young people with us, you know, because we like to say, well, young people is the future. No, they're now, like right now.
Right. I agree. There are too many people who are struggling with mental illness who are criminalized. So there are people who are homeless and they end up going to prison not because they committed a crime, but because, law enforcement is not trained properly to deal with people with mental illness. So, they end up shooting you or beating you up, locking you up, and they don't have the skills to deal with people. There's a judge in Minnesota. She has a mental health court, and she believes in prevention and not punishment. There's too many people who are behind bars because they have a mental illness. A mental illness is not a crime, but people are criminalized around this country because they have a mental illness. And it would be helpful to have a job where you get, you actually get time to take off. If you have some mental health challenges and concerns, you can get that day off and you can actually still get paid for it.
Oh man, you're really pushing it now, though, ain't it? But no, I'm serious. Hey, listen, man. Listen, if you don't change your view of yourself, you can't change your view of the world, what you view in the world, and how you view what you view in the world. And that's some cardinal stuff you're talking about there, man. Yeah, I mean, pregnant women get off, or they get time off,
Right.
So they should, So yeah, why not?
We need to reimagine a world
Yeah.
in which people with mental health and mental illness challenges are valued, that they're seen, they're heard, they're respected, they're loved, they're cared for. In New York City, there's a lot of abandoned buildings that have been there for years. And now you got people coming from another country and they're getting stipends and they got a place to live now. There's all these people who are homeless. Why aren't those spaces being used to home the unhoused? It doesn't make any sense. It's really sad that we treat people as though they're not human in this country. It really hurts my heart. People come to New York City from all over the world for all kinds of reasons, and yet, we treat people like they don't even exist.
Right.
And some of them are mentally ill. And people were demonizing Kanye West. When he had his public episodes. Now some of us know a little bit better what he's challenged with, but we need to reimagine the way we treat people.
Okay, a couple of things. Okay, Alan G, how would you suggest healing the hole? Ooh, ouch! The hole in the soul. And look, before we go to that, I think it was Tracy would say, listen, prevention, not punishment, and I thank you for that. Very well stated. The hole in the soul. How do we do that? You know that this is not like how do you fix a flat? You can see the flat. We can see that. But the hole in the soul is an experience that only the person going through the experience can experience it. You know what I'm saying? Now it's got. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let you chop that piece up a little bit more. I'm going to say this. Okay, if the reason why my neighbor's dog won't bite the neighbor, because and do you know why my neighbor's dog will probably try to bite me or run away from me? For a couple of things. Okay, one is the dog don't trust me because the dog don't feel safe, but the owner has demonstrated to the dog that I trust, I love you. You can trust me. I take care of you. So to get to the hole in the soul, how do I allow people to get to me that close? That's a trust and safety issue. How can you talk to that? Disagree, agree, or just say something about that? What do you think about that?
Well, I do agree with you. It's about safety and trust. And like I said, I never felt safe, so I never trusted anybody. Maya Angelou says that there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. James Baldwin said that not everything that is faced can be changed, but not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. So if you know when you're soul that you need someone to talk to, then that's to me, that's the first thing to do, is to find someone to talk to have that conversation, to talk about what disturbs you, what bothers you, what hurts you. It could be a therapist, it could be a social worker, it can be a life coach, it could be a faith-based person, it could be a trusted friend, it could be a parent. But we all have a need to feel safe. It's a spiritual need. And I had to find someone to talk to, and I'm glad I did. When I was in therapy, we didn't even talk about HIV. We talked about that little boy who had been hurting for a long time. And it was the first time in my life that I felt safe enough to tell the truth. So that's just one way. It's to seek out dialogue, to read. My book is a great resource. There's advocates and the clinicians, educators, helplines. 988 is a suicide and lifeline crisis. You can call 24 hours a day. You can text 988. They have crisis counselors, and it's free. It's confidential. It's also in Spanish, so you can call a helpline. And again, find people that you can trust, even if it's just that one person.
Mm-hmm.
Start with that one person, and you're not going to tell your whole story in an hour, so don't try. But just as best you can, let somebody know I'm hurting. It's hard for Black men to say I feel hurt. You don't get that very often.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear Black men often say I feel hurt. You get everything else, but I'm hurting. And we have to become willing to be courageous enough to talk about our hurt. It takes courage to tell the truth. It takes integrity to live the truth. And it starts with us, begin within, like Iana says.
Yeah, it does start with us, and there's got to be this willingness on the inside. David Dyer, he said, listen, and I'm paraphrasing him now. He said, it's a crime to have water and not share it with somebody who needs it. It's a crime for you and me to have this level of information, have this quality of dialogue, okay, and not find an avenue to share this thing, because people are thirsty. We have the water, and it's not our business to withhold the water from people. So now we're back to this village stuff again, this stuff. Now, before we listen, man, this is some great stuff. We're talking with Mark. He's a great guy. He's an advocate. He's got a whole lot of things that he's doing, and I really appreciate you coming on. Listen, up front, you had said, you would say that there are three questions, and I said to myself, I got to get you to take a look at these three questions, to whatever depth you want to take a look at it, okay, before you get off it, because those are some sweet things. So if you remind us of those, and then just walk us through those three things.
So, if you're a Black man and you have some mental health challenges, concerns, you can ask yourself three questions: what can I do? Where can I go? And who can I talk to?
Okay, all right.
Because quite often those questions are not answered. Part of mental health is self-discovery, self-awakening, self-honesty, taking that honest self-assessment about who am I, who am I? Am I just a father? Am I just a husband? Am I just a son? Am I just an employee? Am I just a student? Like, who am I on the inside? So what can I do? If I'm hurting, what can I do? And it's important to have access to resources so you know that there is something you can do. There's an action you can take, right? Because sometimes you may go to a faith-based place and they'll say, pray it away, So they say, well, if you pray it away, you won't be depressed anymore. You get blamed and shamed for having a mental illness, and you get demonized, you get all that kind of stuff. So that's not always helpful, in my opinion. So what can you do? Where can I go? And who can I talk to? Those three questions are very important. And in my book, if there's resources, if you take a look at the website, that there's resources that can answer those three questions for you.
Listen, man, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you talked about the greatest resources is what I is what I heard you talk about. The greatest resource is the self. Because it's the self is the first person that knows that the self needs help, But the thing about it is, how do I feel safe and vulnerable and trusting to go outside of myself when all I've been hearing is negative things about my what, my when, my where, my why, or my how? That's all I hear. My what? There's a behavior when, is a time, where is a place, how is a method. And so when people define us by that, you're absolutely right. We get locked into those labels, and we never get to open the mind and see what's on the inside of the other person. The reason we don't do that is because we're stuck, like right here ourselves. And there's safety in being stuck in a position, because we don't have to take responsibility for new discoveries.
It's a false sense of comfort.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like ice cream at 2:00 in the morning. It tastes good, but it may lead you to the emergency room.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen. And since you went there, a lot of our people, they play that stuff into us. Why? Because they are, it plays into our emotional center, that pleasure center. And because we're busy trying to make ourselves feel good, okay, we eat right, don't sleep right, don't exercise, all the things that we shouldn't do, we do. And they, I don't know about you, but sometimes they have pizza that they show you a slice of pizza. And when they put it, it's a string of cheese. It has a string of cheese just hanging like this. Man. And then you wonder why your arteries getting blocked up, right? When you wind up in not just in the ER room, you wind up in the grave, man. Why? Because all that stuff is killing you from the inside. They make money, and they're still around. Do they eat their pizza that looks like that? Probably not.
There's a Chinese food restaurant in almost every Black neighborhood. They don't even eat that food.
And they will tell you, listen, if I eat it, man, I'm eating my profit. No. You ain't eating it because you're smart enough not to eat it. You know what's in there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, as kids, you see all the commercials for cereal.
Yeah.
And, I've had every cereal you can think of. And all that sugar as a kid, 3, 4, 5. And, that stays with you until you decide to change what you put in your body. And you can become addicted to sugar. There's so much in sugar in a lot of things that you see on the shelf at stores, unless you go to an organic place. And some of us like stuff that's colorful. Put a good beat to it, add a celebrity, and we're good. In America, you can buy and sell anything and sometimes anybody.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, and when we get down to buy and sell anybody, man, that is human slave trafficking, of course,
It is. We went from the auction block to TikTok.
Yeah. It really is. Listen, man, I want to thank you. Now, I don't burn up too much of your time because I know you're a busy man, but what do you want to leave with us? I mean, I know you shared a lot. I know you shared less than what you know. I appreciate that. Oh, by the way, man, man, seem like I need to visit your show, man. Come on in and just do some stuff with you, man.
Well, that would be an honor.
Yeah, man.
That would be
yeah, man. Because this whole thing about men's mental health, as opposed to mental illness. I mean, there is just so much false info that people are putting out there, man, but I'm glad that you're doing this, grab some guys around somewhere from other places, man. And get them to come on your show and talk about mental health, biological mental health, sociological mental health, physical mental health, spiritual mental health, financial mental health, family mental health, marital mental health, parenting mental health. Do I need to go on? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's so many layers.
So many different areas. It's not just the traditional, hey, something's wrong with him. Well, no, mental health means that you're somewhere on the continuum. All of us are somewhere on the continuum. And we need to, you in your small corner, me and mine, man, get this stuff out there because the world is so large. you know, and some people will receive it better from you than they will from me. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't need to be pushing my stuff down trying to feed somebody when they ain't ready to eat from me. You understand what I'm saying? That they're hungry, they ain't starving. When they're starving, they eat whatever they can. But when they're hungry, that's a good time. Why? Because they got the capacity now to digest that stuff, ingest it, digest it, make sense, and make it become a part of who they are, man. You know? Yeah. Oh man, you took us to school this evening, man. You took us to school. Took us to school. Listen. Before we let this man go, if you got a question you want to just throw in the chat real quick, and then he's gonna bounce out of here like they say real quick. You know, for Mark, you know, we want you to just drop it in there. Go ahead, LNG. Can you put Mark's website on the chat so I can contemplate the 3 questions? Oh yes, please. We are going to we're going to do that. So
Also, I just want people to know that I'm available. You can reach me through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X if you want to contact me. And I thank you for putting up the website. The website has the adult media page. On the media page, there's conversation, there's discussion, there's a documentary, there's a lecture, there's an interview, there's poetry, there's music. Because the book is an intergenerational anthology, and also the resources are so important. It's important that people. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think it's important that people become aware of their mental health and how it impacts how they view themselves and how they view the world around them and their relationship with other people, and just start to have these conversations.
Yeah, you're right. You know, one of the big things about excuse me, about mental health is that I should not allow other people to define my mental health. They might be able to diagnose my mental disorder, but my mental health is, you know, it's me. It's that question you ask, like, who am I? You can't see the who, the am. You can't see the I. You know, we can't see that, but it's there. You know, that was a really, really great question, you know, and that's some of the questions that I'm pretty sure that you lead some of your men through, but also, you know, our men, our men's got mothers, aunts, nieces, wives, and I'm thinking here that men's mental health, you know, is impacted by or will impact those females in our lives. You know, because they're like you know, for some of us, you know, our females are our anchor. It's our anchor. You know, I've wondered, how can a big old ship like this carry an anchor, you know, sailing across the ocean, right? And the moment it drops that anchor, the ship is stuck. Our females can be our anchor, and I think we need to, get them on board when it comes to men's mental health. We need them; they need us, man. It's it's an amazing thing. But anyhow, sir, any parting words? Any parting words? Drop us one of those nuggets. I know you got up in your head there, man. I know you got some stuff. You got a big old smile, man. You got it up there.
Well, what comes to mind is Muhammad Ali, you know, who was a very courageous man. Muhammad Ali said that service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth.
Ooh, say that again.
Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm here to be of service.
We're here to be of service. Oh, by the way, you know, you know, other than you know, the man in my biological family, Muhammad Ali, that's my man. I grew up watching him fight, and he stood up and he brought a country to its knees, man. You know, Rosa Parks brought a state and then a country and then the rest of the world to its knees, man. You know what I'm saying, man?
I was born and raised in the South Side of Chicago in Hyde Park. Muhammad Ali lived in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we got a chance to meet him when we were kids.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Big 40-room mansion house. It was amazing.
Yeah. Listen, Mark, man, what can I say?
Thank
What
you,
can
Dr.
I
Kit.
say?
It's been an honor. I really appreciate it.
What can I thank you, sir? It's my honor to have you on. A man with your background and your credentials, and to take some time out to come and be on this show. I think it's a great honor for me, man. And I want you to know that, and I want you to continue doing what you know you need to do from your own center, like right here. And don't worry about the optics that you're looking through, or the optics people are looking at through at you. I think you got a great, I think you got a great thing going on out there. I'm glad that you encourage people to start your own mental health group. Get 4 or 5 or 10 or 110 guys. Just do it once a month if that's what it takes. And just do it. Let them look for a place that they can go to and just unload. You know what I'm saying, and be vulnerable and feel safe and feel trusted and feel loved and feel accepted. All of those things, stuff that they're looking for out there, that they act out to get, but they don't have to act out when they come to your group, man. And I really appreciate you, having that avenue and finding that kind of venue so that people can come and do all of that stuff, man. Yeah, I really appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Mark, it's been my privilege.
Thank you, sir.
It's been my privilege. Uh, Great down to earth information, so
Thank you,
that's
Ellen.
needed.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much. We really appreciate your energy and your spirit. It means a lot.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, LNG, for that. The down to earth information that you provided, and nothing from books or stuff like that. Just sheer experience, and I thank you. And got to get you back again, man. If you can fit this in your schedule. I know you're a busy man. You'll be running out.
I would be honored to come back.
Yeah, man.
It would be my honor.
All right, all right, all right. And I'm going to be talking. I'm going to be talking with because I need the contact number for a few of the guys that kind of run in your spectrum of the world, man. That we can I can get on here that's got their own story to tell. You know what I'm saying? I need to get some of those contacts from you and say, hey, listen, your buddy Mark, hey, turn me on to you. Say, hey, what you gonna do about it?
We have the greatest stories never told.
Yes, 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 yes. All right. Well, thanks, Mark. I mean, we'll talk again. We'll talk again. And there you have it, folks. There you have it from our guest. Oh, what a mind blow. My head's hurting right about now with all the info that he shared. The man is so clear, so articulate. He wasn't trying to find words. I mean, they just fell off his lips because he's got it right here. He's got it here. It's like like one man said, when you squeeze an orange, the juice will come out. Oh man, the juice came out of him this evening. And so I just want to thank you. And I want to thank you. And here's what I like for you to do every time you come on, follow, share, and subscribe, so that we can continue to have shows like this. We can continue to have great young men and great young women, of any color and any ethnicity, really. As long as you got something good that you want to share, we want to bring them on, like, follow, share, and subscribe. Okay, that's what we'd like for you to do. And then, best of all, man, listen. If you would love to, no, let me put it this way. I'm not going to ask you if. We would love for you to consider being a part of the show. We would love. I'm giving you that invitation for you to become a part of the show, because your experience, it is irreplaceable. No one else got can and will have your experience. And we just want you to come on the show, because if your experience touches one person, that person touched two persons, and they touch 4 or 6 or 8. You see how the ripple? Sorry, here the ripple starts here. Starts ripple out, ripple, 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 ripple. That's what we want. Okay. So I would like for you to consider being a part of the show. So thank you so much. This is Dr. Kit checking in and checking out. So I will see you again next week. Please be on with us, and we look forward to it. Bring a friend, invite a friend, tell them about it, and be good. God bless you, and we'll see you again on next Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. All right.